Well, we had an executive order that was signed in August of last year. So this is about what's called the final rule that's being put in place now. So it essentially gives more context and also just spells out the restrictions in more detail. So we sort of had a blueprint that was put out in June of this year. But what we know is that there are three sectors that are being covered here. So you have semiconductors and microelectronics, quantum technology, and then also AI. And so what happens now is that US citizens, or what are called US people in the White House statement, are essentially banned from some investments in these industries, or otherwise they're also required to notify the US governments. There's sort of two things at play here, either a ban or some sort of notification going into effect. It's an extension really of the restrictions that were already put in place to limit exports. Now we're really talking about the investment piece instead.
So when do these investment restrictions then take effect?
So they take effect in January of next year, January 2. As I said, the framework largely resembles what was already put in place or floated in June of this year, but it does give greater clarity. So to give an example of one of these, it would be semiconductors. And what we heard from one of the senior White House members or administration people was that if you're talking about advanced chips, for instance, advanced semiconductors, then a ban will be put in place on a US person investing in an advanced semiconductor company in a place like China, for instance. If you're talking about legacy chips, this is more older technology, then a US person would need to notify the US government instead. So as I said, there's already those export restrictions on advanced chips to China. Now we're looking at investment rules instead that are designed to complement those existing rules. If you're talking about AI, for instance, then it's looking at both the computing power that's used to train the AI tool and then also about how the AI tool is going to be applied. So really the concern here is that the US doesn't want to be in a position where it's preventing or allowing, rather, countries of concern. This is what they deem to be places like China, for instance, quite explicitly in the statement. But they don't want to be in a position where they're essentially allowing China to use US technology against it.